All right, Pickle. Week 5 of the Texas high school football season is nigh upon us, kicking off in about 6 hours. I think there's some games that are kicking off at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
So there are massive games across the state. Of course, you can tune in to Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. On TexanLive.com and on YouTube for whip-around coverage of the biggest games across the state. But first, Pickle, let's roll out my top 10 Texas high school football games of the week. We start in Austin, 7:30 p.m. tomorrow night at Cavalier Stadium in Austin.
Live on Dave Campbell's Texan Live.
It is a top 10 matchup in 6A and a rivalry matchup at that, as the number 4 Austin Westlake Chaparrals visit the number 8 Lake Travis Cavaliers, both unbeaten. A big rivalry matchup, obviously, here, potentially, depending on how and I would say likely, some seeding implications here. So keep an eye on this one. We're very interested in this one. We talked about it. We talked about it with Craig Way about how there was less buzz around this game. I do think there's going to be a defensive slugfest. I think both defenses have been really good, and it's going to be up to, I think, I would keep an eye on the 2 running backs. Okay, Lake Travis has Van Hopping, the sophomore running back who's really stepped up, and then Westlake has Jack Kaiser, who, of course, we're big fans of. Which of the teams can establish the run is a critical matchup there, so keep an eye on that. Lake Travis, Westlake, live on Dave Campbell's Texan Live. Then let's go 7 o'clock Friday night at Indian Stadium in Port Neches, as the number 7 Port Neches Groves Indians welcome in the number 2 Fort Bend Marshall Buffaloes. Fascinating matchup here. You remember how this series played out last year, and I do mean series. These teams played twice. Fort Bend Marshall won comfortably in the first game. I want to say like 35-14. In the district play. And then P&G returned to the favor 29-21 in the playoffs en route to a state championship game. Fort Bend Marshall's defense has been unbelievable to start the year, and their offense behind quarterback Caleb Wright starting to round into form. For Port Neches Groves, I think is figuring it out, but I want they've got Isaiah Nguyen, their running back, who's been really good, but I think a lot of this game comes down to the status of Shea Adams. Shea Adams, their star quarterback. Calling him a quarterback is actually not doing him justice. He's kind of their do-it-all athlete. He left their game against West Orange Stark, not last week, which is an open date, but the week before that, with an apparent ankle injury. What is his status for this game? That's a huge game there in 9-5A Division II. Keep an eye on that one. P&G and Fort Bend Marshall. Then let's go to the big country, as in Comanche, America, as the number 1 team in 1A or 2A Division II, the Albany Lions visit the Comanche Indians, who are now recently unranked because of their loss last week to Toller. This is a really intriguing matchup, and 2 teams that we had high hopes for, had big games last week on opposite ends of it, right? Albany looked excellent in their win over Hawley last week. Chip Chambers, their quarterback, I think was really strong, and then Adam Hill is kind of their do-it-all star. Going up against Comanche, who really, the offense without Sawyer Wilkerson really struggled, only 232 yards of total offense on the night. And this is a team that is, I think we don't really know what Sawyer Wilkerson's status is, so as a result, we don't really know how this offense is going to look. As a result, now keep an eye on, reminder, Comanche is a 3A team. Albany is a 2A Division II team. So Albany is punching up significantly here. Does the depth play an issue in this one? Are they worn down after a real physical matchup with Hawley? A lot of intrigue in this one between Albany and Comanche. Let's go to the Houston area in a real low-key banger here.
Yeah.
They're in Montgomery as the unbeaten Richmond Randall Lions take on the unbeaten and 4th-ranked Montgomery Lake Creek Lions in what I think has the most fascinating strength-on-strength matchup of the week, which is the Montgomery Lake Creek offense, led by Tyvon Byers, who has been so stinking good for this team, taking on a Richmond Randall defense, which is giving up just 6 points a game. That is the real strength-on-strength matchup in this game. Montgomery Lake Creek's offense has been on another planet, and Richmond Randall's defense has been very good. Now, this is the big test for Randall. Randall is 4-0, and they have nothing to apologize for, but I also think that this is going to be the best team that they have played by a rather significant margin. Coming into this game, probably their best win probably they played a 6A team in Pasadena Memorial in week 1, but I guess last week against Bryan's maybe their best win. This would be by far their best win of the year, taking on a Lake Creek defense team that, by the way, is not too bad defensively either, giving up just 16 points a game. Can Randall slow down Tyvon Byers and this high-powered Lake Creek attack? That's the real question in this District 10 5A Division II opener. Then, back to the DFW Metroplex. Big showdown in District 11 6A as the defending 6A Division II state champion DeSoto Eagles visit the Waxahachie Indians in a really intriguing matchup. This has, to me, the question is going to be how focused is DeSoto? Mm-hmm. DeSoto is coming off of a really big win last week against Skyline to open district play. They've already gone through Allen and South Oak Cliff, and Waxahachie is not that. But Waxahachie's 4-0, and Waxahachie's starting to figure things out. Got a big win last week over Cedar Hill. Their defense has been rather consistently excellent, and I also think that they are starting to figure out exactly what they look like offensively. This was in week 1. We had them on Valley Sports Southwest in their game against Ennis, and offensively it just looked like a team kind of lacking an identity. I think they know their identity now, and their identity is kind of running the ball, and especially with their quarterback Ramon McKinney Jr., who's been very strong running the ball. They got a great running back as well in Tamadrick Davis Robinson. How well do these two does DeSoto kind of match up in the run game against them? By the way, DeSoto's been nicked up a little bit in this game. They're without a key number of players. I know Tiger Ryden is still out, their star running back. I know DJ Bailey at one point suffered a small injury, but it looks like he played last week. Keep an eye on this one. DeSoto and Waxahachie, critical District 11 6A matchup. Then let's go to the Panhandle up there in the beautiful West Texas as the unbeaten and I would say under the radar Panhandle Panthers welcome in the number 5 ranked Wellington Skyrockets in a big high-profile 2A matchup in the Panhandle. Wellington got a scare last week against Spearman. It's a weird game. Carson Tarver ended up scoring 2 touchdowns to get a 12-6 win. I think it was 13-6. Wellington's defense is very good, holding them just 153 yards. Their defense is going to have to be good going up against this Panhandle offense, which has been very good. Broxton Robinson, their quarterback, has been very good. Running back Bryson Choate. This offense is very explosive, but their defense leaves something to be desired. This is a real strength on strength and, in my opinion, question on question matchup. Wellington's defense against Panhandle's offense come for that show, but the game will probably be determined by how well the Wellington offense can get moving against a, beatable Panhandle defense. That's the real question in this one. Keep an eye on that. Number of really intriguing matchups of unbeatens, and here's another one. Up on the South Plains, in New Home, America, as the New Home Leopards welcome in the Roscoe Plowboys, who, and here's some breaking news for you, are 3-0.
Yeah.
The Plowboys of Roscoe are 3-0 and are coming off a really nice win over in a matchup of unbeatens when they beat Sterling City last week. Seth Wilcox, their running back, has been very strong. Ivan McCann ran for 129 yards last week. This is a different animal, though, because New Home is dominating fools. They have outscored their opponents in their 4 games by 150 points. Okay, last week they took on an unbeaten Florida team and clobbered them with 2 rushing touchdowns from Nevin Mujica, and their defense is very good despite not having one of their best players defensively in Logan Addison. We do not know his status this week, but I do think that New Home is a legit regional contender. So that's what I think this would be a real statement win for Roscoe if they can go on the road and beat New Home. But I think New Home's got to be your favorites. Then, from the South Plains to South Texas to the Rio Grande Valley in Edinburgh, 7:30 p.m. Friday night in Edinburgh at Flores Stadium. It is a matchup of unbeatens, and it is the biggest game in the Rio Grande Valley this year, and at least till the playoffs. And I posited this to Matt Stepp. The biggest game in Edinburgh ever? Because last year it was in FAR.
Yeah, that's fair. As the number 9 ranked unbeaten PSJA North Raiders take on the unbeaten Edinburgh Vela Sabercats. Vela's 4-0, survived McAllen Memorial last week. Their running back, Jamal Pauly, who is the reigning Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week. #DudesRock. This dude's awesome. really strong. They got a big-time wide receiver in Jackson Shoup. This team has big, explosive playmakers. But if you go back to last year, PSJA North won this game against Edinburgh Vela because they leaned on them, because they're bigger than them, and they just pushed them around. And the return of Alejandro Aparicio at the quarterback spot is a game changer. This is a critical game down there for District 16 5A Division 1. This is a critical game for Region 4 of 5A Division 1. I think Corpus Christi Miller is rolling, but I think you can make an argument that the winner of this game is no worse than co-favorite to win Region 4 this year in 5A Division 1. PSJA North, Edinburgh Vela, massive game in the Valley. We're going to talk with head coach Marcus Kaufman of PSJA North coming up here in just a moment. Another matchup of unbeatens that may be flying under your radar. In Wimberley, as the number 5 Wimberley Texans welcome in a very dangerous and I would say rather surprising Lampasas squad.
Live on Dave Campbell's Texan Live.
How about that? Lampasas has flown under the radar a little bit, but this is a really good ball club. They were able, last week against a 5A Pflugerville Connolly team, kind of survived. Their running back, Jet Walker, great name.
I was fixing to say, I made his graphic earlier for show purposes, let's say. And I was like, that's a hell of a name.
Jet Walker, star. Reed Jerome, their kind of two-way athlete, is a big-time playmaker. This is their big test. On the road, at Wimberley against a certified state championship contender, taking on Cody Stover. This is their 19th straight regular season win last week over Fredericksburg. Cody Stover, their quarterback, has really taken another step. They jumped out to a huge lead before just kind of coasting to the finish line last week against Fredericksburg. This is the real moment for Lampasas. This is a make or break game. Not make or break, but like, are you a good story or are you a contender? We'll find out when they take on Wimberley on Friday night. And finally, let's go to Brownwood as the Waco Connolly Cadets visit the number 7 ranked and unbeaten Brownwood Lions. We haven't talked a ton about Brownwood, but I love their quarterback, Icall. He is a dude back there. He was out a little with injury before, but he came back last week, threw for 286 yards, 2 touchdowns, ran for 178 and a score in their win over Glen Rose, and their defense, which had been good really all year, did struggle a little bit against Glen Rose, which does appear to be figuring things out offensively. Now they're taking on Waco Connolly. Now, Waco Connolly, say what you want about them. They're coming off of a loss, a 20-point loss to China Spring, but they can score. They have got dudes. Kiefer Sibley, Kobe Black, Jamarian Vincent, they have got dudes and playmakers all over the field. The question's on the defensive side. Can they find stops against Icall and company? The real money matchup here is Brownwood's Brownwood's defense against Connolly's offense, but what's going to determine the game is Connolly when they have the ball Connolly when they don't have the ball and whether that defense can slow down Icall. It's a big game down there in Brownwood, and I do think that Brownwood is very difficult to beat at home. So keep an eye, Gordonwood Stadium. So keep an eye on that one, Brownwood and Waco Connolly. Of course, you can find coverage, whip-around coverage, and live look-ins of the biggest games across the state of Texas live for free, 7:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. Friday night on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight, live Friday nights, 7:30 p.m. Texan Live, and on YouTube. So TexanLive.com and on YouTube to see that. But those are my top 10 Texas high school football games of the week.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they come out, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. You can also watch Texas Football Today every day live at noon on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, and right here on YouTube. For more of the best coverage of Texas football in the Lone Star State, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe.